Morning, Nigel. Let's get your final reflections then on that superb victory in the playoff semi-final against Northampton Town over 2 legs.
What a night and what a performance. I think to win both legs has been incredible. But the way we went about it and the manner of the performance, it was not like the way we played most of the season. You know, we've tried to play a lot of football and everything. This was really digging in and everybody doing the job and stopping a team creating chances against us, and it gives you an awful lot of pleasure. I remember Peter Taylor once being asked back in the European days, he said, I get a lot of pleasure out of watching teams defend well. And it is an art in football and a skill, and we did it admirably the other night. Brilliant performance. Very difficult, we talked about it briefly after the match, team selection. Just couldn't see your Matty Longstaffs and your George Marises and your Jamie Murphys and Sturkey, and I just couldn't see them having an impact on the game the other night. I thought it's going to be blood and thunder. That's why we went with the team that we did. I thought JJ just pushing into midfield. He did magnificently. Elliott came in at right back, and he's been unlucky not to play recently, so he just slotted straight back in. Bish made a crucial save in the first minute of the game, absolutely vital, and his whole performance, although he didn't have much to do, his positioning, his positivity and everything was absolutely spot on the other night. I think that's the best game he's had probably. He's played, 51 now or something, more than that for us this season. And I thought that was his best game without having an awful lot of saves to make. But his save in the first minute would have been a whole different game if that had gone in.
When did you decide upon that game plan, that strategy of stifling and thwarting Northampton?
Over the course of the few days, I started thinking about it actually just as we finished the game on Saturday in the home leg. And I said afterwards, I'm thinking about playing 5. 3 at the back was almost a 5, just putting Elliott in there and perching back to centre half, and we'll be big and solid. And we sort of over the next few days, we do a lot of talking, as you know, in the office and everything, and a lot of permutations. And we did a little bit of work on Tuesday morning on 1 or 2 bits. It didn't quite sit right. And the players have also got to be really on board with it. And they weren't, I don't think, overly fussed on changing from a back 4 to a 3 or a 5. So we went with the 4-2-3-1 and put JJ and Keir in there. So it was over the course of a couple of days, but probably sometime in the middle of the night on Tuesday night was when it was finally decided.
And speaking of team selection, Nigel, what deliberations will you make when deciding upon the starting 11 for the big one, Wembley, next Saturday, versus Port Vale?
Yeah, don't know where to start with that one. We're going to have hopefully everybody available, and it's going to be very tricky to who to leave out, never mind who to play. So we'll be thinking about that in the coming weeks, and a few more sleepless nights, no doubt, but we'll try and get it right. A different game at Wembley than it was at Northampton, certainly.
Final observations from that famous night at Sixfields in midweek. Tremendous scenes after the game, following the full-time whistle and in the dressing room.
Yeah, we've been so proud of the supporters all season, the way they've backed us. But I think the last couple of 2-3 games, first of all the Forest Green one, when we secured the playoff place, for the supporters to stay off the pitch, and for the players, that enables the players then to bring the children on and to walk around and show our appreciation. You know, we want to come to you. You don't have to come to the pitch. We'll come to you in the stands, and they feel very comfortable then walking around with the children and having that end of season. That's how it should be, you know, an end of season sort of lap of honour, a lap of appreciation. It's a chance for us to show that to the supporters, and then again in the home leg. And as the winning team, I think what we've seen this week with supporters coming on pitches has been some very, very poor scenes for football. And I personally believe it started in the Euros at the final, when several thousand people were allowed to gain access to our national stadium on what should have been one of the highlights of us hosting a sporting event in many a year. And it was blighted by these, I don't know how many there were, they said up to 10,000 in the end. To get in, a lot of them ticketless, a lot of them drunk. They said, according to the report, a lot of them drugged up, according to the official report, and they were allowed to gain access to our national stadium on a day like that. I think there's a belief that people can get away with it at the moment, and that's why you're seeing the scenes that you are. And I know the gentleman, a season ticket holder at Forest, has been jailed within 48 hours for 24 weeks. We have to stop the people coming onto the pitch, however you have to do it. because there's going to be some serious injury and some serious problems if we don't do that. And it's often the winning team that are celebrating that are coming on. You saw that with Everton, with Forest, with Port Vale. And that's why we were so proud of our supporters. We'll come to you and we'll come and celebrate with you. And let's be the team that's does it a little bit differently, and the club that does it a bit differently. If one team, I'll tell you what, Mansfield got through the final. Their fans haven't come on the pitch anywhere. I think that would be something to be proud of as a club.
Let's have a final word on that match in midweek, that victory at Sixfields. After the game, supporters will have doubtless seen by now the scenes in the dressing room after the match, and particularly the anthem, which has been blasted out of the changing room after each and every victory so far this season. The walking in Memphis. Could you put a bit of meat on the bones on that one? Why has that become Mansfield Town's winning anthem?
I can't, no. I'm not sure. It must have been early on in the season when we won the first game against Bristol Rovers. And what we do is they like the music on before the game and a little bit afterwards. So all the players and staff choose, I think, 4 songs. And it all goes on to Ollie Hawkins' phone, and then he puts it on a big shuffle, and it just randomly comes up. And I'm not sure if it was a random choice that one came up at the end of the game. I think it's Andy Garner's choice, actually, one of his songs. It's strange as well because not many of the staff choices come on. I think he skips over them pretty quickly, Ollie. And we seem to have the same sort of quite offensive songs at times, I have to say. But that one's, I think, a good one to put on when you've won, especially when you're talking about standing in the pouring rain. That was very appropriate, since quite a few of us did that for some time.
And yesterday, a bit of a team bonding day, I understand. Some of the players went golfing in the morning and then in the afternoon out into Nottingham to enjoy a few light ales.
Yes, that was planned either way. We had a chat with the lads. We're not great ones for planning and saying, we're taking it for granted, we're getting through. That certainly wasn't the case. We won't be planning anything at all after the final. But we said to them, I think on Monday after the first leg, and said, listen, win or lose, what do you want to do? And we said we should go out. Even if we lose at Northampton and we get knocked out, there's an element to say, I'll tell you what, it's been an unbelievable effort this season to get to where we have been, and it's been a great season in lots of ways. So we said, listen, we're going out for a few beers no matter what. So we met up in Nottingham. A couple had a game of golf in the morning. That was their arrangement. And we met up in Nottingham, and the lads, I think Quinny arranged for them to go to an Irish bar and watch the game as well later on. So I haven't heard anything back. So I think that's a good sign.
Usually.
Yeah, it's a good sign. We haven't had any calls from any solicitors or police, so that's good.
There's a final pre-match press conference ahead of Wembley on Tuesday, so no doubt the rest of the press will put more meat on the bones. But let's just get a quick word generally as to the atmosphere and the anticipation, not only for the club, Nigel, but for you personally.
I honestly don't look at it as a personal thing. I just look at it from everybody's point of view and the faces of the supporters. First of all, in the first leg, we could only take 1,400 to Northampton. So you see the ones that managed to get tickets and the jubilation and everything, and you hear them sort of saying, my family were there and they heard one or two things. I think the guy is saying, I've been a season ticket over 30 years and this is the best night I've ever had as a Stags fan. And things like that, it just puts it all into perspective of what it means to them. And I know the club have been to Wembley a few times and stuff, but this feels the biggest and most important trip. We're delighted to be going there, but we don't want to be going there for the sake of it.
Well, the opposing side were revealed last night, Port Vale.
Yeah, I think football-wise, it's both very good teams, slightly different styles, but both set different challenges. But just on a personal level, I'm just pleased for Nigel Clough. He's a Mansfield lad. He's had a rough time, and so just absolutely delighted for him.
We'll speak to you more on Tuesday. Thanks for now.
Thank you.